Well, welcome to the video. In this video, we'll do some long-term Ethereum ETH analysis. We're looking at ETH, USDT on Binance. We're looking at the monthly time frame. I'll be jumping over to some different time frames and charts here. Really, I'm just looking at what can the charts tell us, where's our opportunity to potentially go long. I will share that I have a bias long on Ethereum, so I do see I'm talking years, a long-term potential for upward price movement on this. Obviously, we had a high here, right around, what is that, 43.92. So I do see it exceeding that at some time in the future. I think a lot of things will align to give that opportunity. Who knows when that's going to happen? For me, this is a complete speculative asset. Ethereum is, but it has a lot of uses. So I figured in this video what we'll do is we'll just do some long-term analysis, and I'll just start here. We're looking at the monthly time frame, and as we can see here on the monthly time frame, we've got the Rexdog system on here, and some of it is not printing. We're 2% long on the monthly time frame using the Rexdog market bias indicator down here, the oscillator that you see down here. So it's still in a long momentum. We are holding the short-term momentum indicator here. It did find support at both of these. What I'm really looking at is potentially for us to, I'd say Ethereum, to continue to range in this area here, kind of in this area, to allow either this momentum indicator or this momentum indicator. I'm really looking at the white momentum indicator to catch up to this level here, which is all the way from February of 18. We align that here. Standard support and resistance. Any new charting person can look at this. We've got a couple key things here. We do have a breakout monthly candle here with the high here. So what I would be looking for, and I have limit orders from this purple line all the way down to here and below this. I have limit orders pretty much scaling in from 1500 all the way down to about 1040. So right down to 1040. And what I'd be looking for is some kind of overshoot. And this is, who knows when this is going to happen or if this is even going to happen. Because when we look at some of the other charts, it looks kind of probable, but it's hard to say. Really, we're looking for a flash crash type scenario where it comes down and tests these levels. And for it to do that, and for the Rexdog system that I trade, what I'd be looking for is for it to be in a range, in this range here above this momentum indicator. So what I'm really looking for is maybe the rest of summer is to be potentially in a range like this. And we'll go to a lower time frame so you can see this. So in this range, what I'd be looking for is something in this range. Maybe, possibly, we could use these levels here, the 2700 level. But I'd be really looking for this range here, for it to hold this range. And if it holds this range, what will happen is that these momentum indicators that I use in the Rexdog system will catch up to this level. And then it will be, it's already at this level right here in the monthly time frame, but it will be above this level. So then an overshoot of this level will find support. That's really what I'm looking for on a long-term basis. That's why I have pretty much limit orders all through this area. Let's go to the weekly time frame. And if we look at the weekly time frame, we see here, there's not enough time for the Rexdog average is just starting to be created here. So you can see here the Rexdog average is right here, this little yellow line here. It's just starting. There's just enough data here for the Rexdog average to start. We do have the momentum indicator that's been broken. That typically signifies that this level is interesting here, obviously. We have 2 weekly rejections there, right there. So that's interesting, right around the RDA. But I can just tell you the rules of the Rexdog system. For those that trade it, you're looking at this immediately and you're saying, okay, these based on these are arrows, meaning that the price has a likelihood of going down. So we look at this here in the weekly. We have a couple things aligning on the weekly. last week, it did close above the previous week open. It did reject at a momentum indicator, as we expect. So if we see this week come up and close above this momentum indicator here, right here, that one right here, then we would expect an upward test to some of these levels. Probably this one here. That's what we would expect. Obviously, we have a lot of rejections here on this week here, on these weeks here. We go down to the daily. And actually, let's go to the 2-day. So if we go to the 2-day, I know there's a lot of lines now. Now it starts, and obviously there's a lot of indicators here that if you're not familiar with the Rexdog average and you haven't really trained your mind to just focus on the ones that are important, then drill down, it can get a little busy. I understand that, especially if you're new. Well, what do we see here? Well, the first thing we see is that we do have an initial rejection here on the 2-day at a momentum indicator. That's exactly, we are still momentum short on the short-term time frame. Well, we're not momentum short. The bias is momentum long because we are above the RDA. The short-term bias is momentum short. So I should say bias is momentum long. The momentum is momentum short based on the momentum indicators. So we're momentum short. So we would expect another rejection right around this area, maybe above this high here. That rejected just above this candle, these 2-day candle open. So we're still momentum short. This could be an overshoot of the RDA. It's hard to say. One thing I will say is there's a new indicator that we're releasing, this one right here, this second indicator. It's the, let me just share that. It's the Rexdog rate of change. So it's basically using the same calculation as the Rexdog indicator, as the Rexdog average, I should say, but it's a rate of change indicator, and it's more as a confirmation of what you're seeing maybe on the market bias and in the overall chart. As you can see here, though, if we go to maybe just let's just go to a one hour time frame. We're still testing it, and it's still in back testing. But you can see when it turns to orange, you're kind of in a changeover range area. And then, so when you see an orange and then a follow-on orange, typically what's that saying is that, okay, we're in a range changeover area, and then it's going to go to momentum short. You see here, we do have a momentum short signal right here, early signal. And then we have the confirmation here, right here at this area here. And the rate of change indicator was already momentum short. So we're starting to see an initial change here. I mean, that you can just, part of this is reading the story of the chart. Like I said, we haven't fully back tested this rate of change indicator to release it yet. I'll release it to Den members early so that you can give it a test run. And then once we get it back tested and kind of create rules around it, then we'll fully release it. But if we look at this, if we look at just the daily time frame, or actually let's look at the 4 hour, just so I'm staying focused on what we're looking at here. So on a shorter term time frame, what do we have here? We have the weekly held. So this is the weekly level right here. This is the 4 hour time frame. We have a daily rejection, and then a daily close above, a daily close above, a daily close above, and then we have a rejection off this week's open. So we're early in the week. It's Monday. It's still a holiday week because a lot of people do take off this full week here. It's the 4th of July week here in the United States. This could just melt up, but it kind of did that already over the holiday weekend. It melted up and then it sold off. That's kind of what happened here. It's now in a, the way you read this chart right now is that you're probably momentum short because it does have some initial momentum short signals. And you're probably looking for a lower level of some kind of support. Obviously, the biggest level to watch is the previous weekly open. So this level here, this is the obvious level to watch right here, is this previous week open. And you expect a reaction here. So obviously you expect a reaction here at this level. That's very clear. Look, these are Rexdog trading, the Rexdog system trading rules. So remember the Rexdog system, for those that are trading it, it's all about momentum and it's all about expectations. It tells you where to look on the charts for reactions. And basically you expect a reaction up here. So you expect reactions up here. We already got the initial reaction here. This initial reaction overshoot is what we expected. That's the 200 blended, 200 EMA, 200 moving average. Rejected above that. So, and then sold off from the weekly. It might be early in the week for a weekly test. Maybe it has to come down and test this level or test the previous week open. You've got a pack that's been invalidated. You've got a minor pack here that's been tested that hasn't been invalidated yet. And you have a pack here that is aligning with the level. So this is probably your best initial trade area here, because the market does like to maybe fake out and come down and say, okay, look, we're going to come down and we're going to test the previous week open, but then use a previous level or something else to then, so it might just overshoot here a little bit and then look like it's going to test the previous week open and fall short of it, or not fall short, but come short of it and then find support and then maybe just melt up from here and then come back and test this week's open. I know we kind of went from long-term analysis to short-term analysis here, but that's what I'd look for. Like I said, my overall analysis of what we're looking for here in the daily is to range between these areas. Is to range between these areas here and just to range for a couple weeks maybe. Maybe create some, maybe gets rejection, some highs, but kind of range. And then I'd be looking for some kind of, it could be news. I don't know. It could be, I don't care. Elon Musk decides that he wants to dump all his Bitcoin. Maybe he already did. I don't know. But, and then buy Ethereum. Who knows? Or maybe sell Ethereum. I don't know. Whatever the news is, I don't really care. But I would be looking for range, like I said, and then some kind of flash sell off, and then heavy rejection support like we see here, like we see in this candle, and this candle. Obviously, we have this month was double rejection. We got a rejection to the downside, a rejection to the upside. So I would be looking for more of a sell-off, flash sell-off, and then I would be looking for, what you're really looking for is a close above these momentum indicators. And ideally, like I said, ideally what would happen is that this white momentum indicator, if you're in the Rexdog system, you know what that is, would align with this open or this close of this candle here on the monthly time frame. Because then what that would allow is the algorithm to overshoot the momentum indicator, come down, maybe even test a key level at this pack, and then find pretty massive support where you would, I want to see, if it comes down to this level, you want to see, this is what you'd want to see. You'd want to see a 10, not a 30, but a 10 to 15% immediate rejection. And then the following day, you want to see another, 15%, 15 to 20%. That's what you want to see. So you want to kind of see these consecutive rejections of the lows, and then just basically what you'll see is you'll see a sell-off where there's no bids in the market. Basically, it'll just be like a bidless market, and it'll be very scary to buy down here. I mean, I have limit orders, so it's going to be bought anyways if they hit the limit orders. But it's going to look like a bidless market. And then what you want to see is basically every minor sell-off is going to be bought up. So any 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame is going to look like it's going to break the lows And we can actually look at some of these to see if we can find some recent ones. And let's where's my, so here's an example. This isn't the best example, but this is kind of an example of what you'd like to see. It's not really the best. I should find a specific area of the chart. But you want to see something like this, where every low breached is rejected, and then it's coming and testing the RDA. So you want to see something like that. So you want to see, okay, low, and then bam, breach the RDA. Low, breach the RDA. Low, breach the RDA. And then home. And then eventually, I mean, you don't want to see this. If you see this, then that's basically showing that there's no bids in the market. And there's no limit orders. There's no hidden limit orders. There's no nothing that's really supporting the algorithm. So, but you want to see just a stair step of upward movement after a big bidless sell-off is really what you're looking for. So that's the kind of scenario that I'm looking for in a long term. Other than that, right now, well, I'll do BTC in another update. But right now, where are we at on the 1 hour? Well, it's looks like we're momentum short. So on a short-term time frame, we've got an RDA test here that's looking to potentially fail. I could see it, based on what I'm seeing right now, we could see it just come up, overextend, come and test the momentum indicator up here. Maybe if it comes this high, I would be surprised if we see a flash buy frenzy that comes and tests this open, but could happen. I wouldn't short that though. I would wait for the level short. I would wait for an overextension of the weekly open to short. So I wouldn't short this level at this point. I mean, I would maybe for a scalp, but I wouldn't on a shorter time frame. I would short above this level here. So that's what I would do, knowing that we got another level here. So, but I would short up here. I would scalp maybe this area here. It could sell off here because that could be an overshoot of the momentum indicator. But if it's going to flash buy up to this level, momentum long, we look at the 5-minute time frame. You know, the 5-minute time frame is momentum short. So it has to come in order to do that, it has to let's see, it has to close above the RDA. And then you got the VWAP up here. So it could be looking to test the VWAP. That could be one thing that you could be looking for in a short-term time frame. Now, the other thing I would add here that we haven't done is, let's look at the high VWAPs. Let's remove everything. Let's look at the high VWAP, and let's look at the recent low VWAP. So we will take the recent low, so really we've got, it aligns pretty well with the previous levels I added. So I said that level here, and then we've got a level here. So I added VWAPs, anchored VWAPs. And really, if you look at this daily here, we could just bounce between this VWAP and this VWAP, which would support the thesis of what I'm talking about for a flash crash. So if we bounce between these two anchored VWAPs from the high and the recent low, we can even, I can almost guarantee if I take this low, it's going to probably align right here. I can't guarantee it, but let's do it. Yeah, so it aligns right where it's at. So that's right where it rejected. So this low here, this anchored VWAP here, is right in the middle. So really, we're in between, I don't want to say a volatility box, but if you want to call it a volatility box, we could say we're in between this volatility of the high VWAP and the low VWAP. So arranging between here, between 2590 and 2000 or so, fits the thesis for what I'm saying on the monthly. And I know I bounced around a lot in this video, but hey, fits the thesis for what I'm looking for in a flash crash scenario to then go long. And then From there, who knows? Maybe come the end of the year or something, it starts trying to breach some of these levels here. Maybe that's what it's looking for. But obviously, who knows? So that's my analysis on Ethereum. That's what I'm looking for. That's kind of my plan. I would short. I will say this. I would short above here. And if it hits this level. If it hits this level, I'd short above this level again. So I wouldn't. I would be skeptical of getting above 3,000 at this point in time. But that could all change. Obviously, that's me looking at the chart now. I would short above this level here, and I would short above here, maybe for a potential RDA test. You know, so a shorter term swing trade. But I would be skeptical of it breaching this level. So anything above this level, I'd be looking to short probably pretty heavy. Mindful that we have a pay attention candle here that I might be testing. So that's a lot of room from here to here. But that's what I'd be looking for. All right. Well, that's all for this video. Leave a comment below or leave a like if you like this type of analysis. I know I bounced around quite a bit, and I know maybe it's hard to follow for some people. But if anything wasn't clear, leave a comment, and I can respond in the comments as well. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.